What's going on, everyone? So Jovan Buha made a report with The Athletic that said, despite signing a vet minimum contract, Wood is expected to have a considerable role for the Lakers off the bench, flanking Anthony Davis in two big lineups and helping hold down the paint when Davis rests. Now, this isn't really like crazy news, anything like that. Um, because look, Christian Wood himself said that he was told he would have a big role and that he'd also have an opportunity to potentially work his way into the starting unit. And I know this Jovan Buha report says that he's expected to have a significant role off the bench. The report also says that he's supposed to be playing some big minutes. My guess is he probably plays around 25 minutes a game. I originally thought if he came in, he'd probably play around 20 minutes. I figured he'd probably play, about 5 minutes or so without Anthony Davis on the court, and then play, about 15 minutes alongside AD, right? Because AD probably plays about 30 minutes. Jackson Hayes, I think, will get some run, right? I think Christian Wood will play alongside Jackson Hayes. Darvin Ham's going to want to see what that looks like, right? And I think you run different interchangeable lineups, different looks, different sets. Have Wood at the 5, have Wood at the 4. I've even said maybe you kind of do like the Lauri Markkanen because he actually is good at guarding smaller players and out on the perimeter. Maybe go and just see what does he look like at the 3, right? He shoots 38% from 3. That's something that could be a different just idea and look. Not saying you play him heavy minutes or you start him at 3 or anything like that, but what does that look like alongside maybe a Rui and Hayes, right? But regardless, I do think Christian Wood has a significant role and does play significant minutes, right? Also, Anthony Davis probably misses 20 plus games. And those nights, Christian Wood starts and he has big roles and big opportunities. I think minimum Christian Wood probably starts around 30 games. I do. Because, again, Anthony Davis is going to miss 20 games. LeBron James probably misses 20 games. And I could see Wood maybe starting alongside AD when LeBron James is out. And I just think that there's going to be certain matchups, right? You're playing whomever. You're playing Minnesota. And it's like, okay, well, let's have Wood and AD start, right? Go with match the two bigs type thing. I definitely think that there will be moments where Christian Wood starts. But the more and more we keep getting information and keep hearing things, the more I think Christian Wood may end up being the day one starter. Now, there are the reports that the Lakers are planning on starting Rui Hachimura, and that makes sense. He just got his new contract. He's a guy that can get absolute buckets. He's slimmed down a little bit, so the expectation is he should be able, that should help him defend threes in the league because he's really struggled against threes. He's great guarding the 4s and even some 5s. We saw what he did to Karl Anthony Towns because he's got a good lower center of gravity. He's got good size. He's stocky. He's strong. He's physical, right? Well, he's slimmed down a bit. So the idea is okay, he should be quicker and should be able to stay in front of some of these threes. I personally have said, and I still believe this, that I think the Lakers should keep the continuity and go with the starting 5 that they had last year that led them to the Western Conference Finals, which is D'Lo, Reeves, LeBron, AD, and Vando. I think that also, as a 5-man group, gives you the most balance. You got your 2 best defensive players in Jared Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis, a guy in Anthony Davis that can basically completely shut down opposing teams' offense. And then you have Jared Vanderbilt who can about as close to shut down the stars of the league and be a just point of attack defensive guy, one of the best, if not the best on-ball defensive guys in the entire league. You have LeBron James who can do everything. You got D'Lo and Reeves who both are really good on the ball, but they're also really good off the ball, and they're the best shooters on the team. I just think you have just such a great balance with that. Maybe, again, you could go certain matchups. Maybe you're playing the Suns and you go with a different matchup, a different look, right? Maybe you do go a Gabe Vincent or something like that, or maybe you go with Taurean Prince next to Reeves, right? I could see, again, different starting units based on matchups because this roster is so deep, so talented, so versatile, and you have so many different options. Like, you can go with an all defensive lineup. You can go with an all offensive lineup. You can go with a nice balanced lineup. You can go small ball. You can go big small ball. You could go with 2 bigs. You could go with 3 bigs if you wanted to. Like, there's just so many different things that you could do with this roster. You could go if, the opposing team goes 4 guards. You could match that with 4 guards. Like, there's so many various things. But the more and more we hear, Anthony Davis doesn't want to play power forward, at least during the regular season, or doesn't want to play center, at least during the regular season. He only wants to play power forward. And, playoffs is a different thing. He understands. Like, even the 2020 season, you saw Anthony Davis, for the most part, was playing the 4. Then he got to the playoffs, and he was closing games at the 5. He was starting games at the 5. He was playing 5 when it mattered, right? Because that's what makes him so special, right? He's such a mismatch at the 5. But if you're not going to have him play the 5, which, look, the Lakers even have said publicly that they want to kind of get back to that 2020 standard, that 2020 rotation and set with the 2 bigs and whatnot. Anthony Davis has expressed publicly that he wants to play the 4 and that the Lakers have basically obliged. And that's one of the reasons he signed the contract or extension and whatnot. And the Lakers are going to do what they can to make Anthony Davis happy, right? Like, they're going to do what is necessary. And so how do you do that unless Anthony Davis plays the 4 and you have somebody else play the 5, which you're going to go with Christian Wood. Now, could Anthony Davis start at the 5 and play the first 5 minutes, and then you bring in Wood, and then, maybe he shifts over to the 4, and then you have him play the last 5 minutes at the 5? Sure, maybe you could do that. But, you could just do the same thing. Like, you could just start Wood at the 5, put AD at the 4, 5 minutes in, pull AD out, pull LeBron out, and put in Rui and Hayes, shift Wood to the 4, right? Now you got Rui, Hayes, and Wood, or maybe you go Vando or whomever, right? And then at the 7-minute mark, take out D'Lo, put in Vincent. At the 8 or 9 minute mark, take out Reeves, put in Prince, right? And then kind of go that route. And then to start the second, you have Hayes and AD. And then start the third, you have, Hayes and Rui. And then you get my point. Like, you don't ever have to play AD at the 5 if you don't want to, right? Or just have him just close games, right? And start Wood, start AD, start LeBron. Although I don't like the idea of LeBron at the 3. I don't think it's best for him. It's one of the reasons why he played the 4 last year, right? Even when Rui and everyone came, he was still playing the 4. Why? Because it's best for him at his stage in his career. He's going to be 39, year 21. He's coming off of a serious foot injury that may or may not have required surgery. We don't know. And LeBron himself said you'll never know, so I take his word for it. But the thing is that, do you really want LeBron James chasing around these young 20-something-year-olds all at the perimeter and that are all running off the screen? Do you really want LeBron chasing around Klay Thompson? Right? Do you really want him having to chase around Klay Thompson off of screens and stuff? No, you're going to wear him down. You're going to exhaust them, right? But I guess for the first 5 minutes or whatever, sure, right? You could do something like that. I've talked about how I think the best way to go about it, honestly, I think is just positionless basketball, right? Maybe you don't even start D'Lo, right? Maybe you do go LeBron, Reeves, Vando, Wood, and Davis, right? You got Wood, who's 38% 3-point shooter. Hopefully Anthony Davis and LeBron's 3-point shooting picks up. But you'd have Reeves, who could basically be your point guard. LeBron would be the 2 guard, but he's not really the 2 guard. Vando's going to guard the best player on the other team anyway. So you have Vando to guard the other team's best player, whether it's a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, whomever. And then you have, Reeves guard the point guard or the two guard or whomever. LeBron guards the four, AD, and LeBron could even just play scout. And then Christian Wood is kind of like, because again, he's actually pretty solid out on the perimeter, staying in front of smaller guys. That's how I think it goes. Like, I think at some point, it's very likely that you have a LeBron, Woods, and AD starting unit. I do. I think that's almost, it's sounding like it's going to be inevitable. All the reports, all the talks, all the conversation is just that Wood is going to get significant minutes. He's going to play a big role. Wood, he was promised the opportunity to start and blah, 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 like, and all he has to do is outplay Rui, Hayes, and Vando, right? Like, which with Vando, I don't even think that I think Vando is just like an assignment guy. Like, I think that he's just kind of like the 10-minute specialist, right? You put him in, like, who's the guy that's hot tonight, right? Vando, for the next 5 minutes, your job is to just shut him down entirely. And then at the end of games, Vando, the last 5 minutes, your job is to shut him down entirely. I don't think Vando gets I don't think he's a 20-minute a game guy. I think Vando, he ends up getting probably 10 minutes, 10 to maybe 15 minutes tops on some nights, but he's somewhere around like 10 minutes a game. Rui, I think, is a guy that probably get, 15 to 20 minutes, but like Christian Wood, especially with AD wanting to play the four, I think Christian Wood would get the nod over Rui. And especially if Wood and Rui are close or Wood's better, right? I mean, Wood is a 17-8 guy, right? So it's not like Rui's this like 20 and 28-8 guy and Christian Wood is like a 13-5. It's like, why are you starting him when you could go like, no, like they're pretty comparable. And the difference maker is Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis doesn't want to play the 5. And the Lakers are going to oblige him. So how do you do that? You start Christian Wood and you play significant minutes with Christian Wood, right? Unless AD is totally okay with like, all right, fine. Like, I'll give you the first 5 minutes. I'll give you the last 5 minutes. But the other 20 plus minutes that I play, I'm at the 4, right? Maybe there is that happy compromise. Maybe. And again, like during the regulars or during the playoffs, Anthony Davis, he's going to do whatever needs to win. But I do get over the course of an 82-game season. And the Lakers went and got Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood and all that stuff so Anthony Davis doesn't have to play the 5 so much. That was the whole point. It's why they went and got those guys. But the biggest problem I see with Anthony Davis playing the 4 is it makes the log jam even bigger. Right? Because you have LeBron, Prince, Reddish, Vando, Rui, right? All 5 of those guys and LeBron, right? All 6 of those guys now are all very capable of playing the 4. And now you're going to have Anthony Davis probably playing at least 20 minutes at the 4. Okay, you still have 28 minutes to figure that out there. But LeBron probably plays 10 minutes. Rui probably plays 10 minutes there. And then, Wood probably plays 10 plus minutes there. So there's basically all your 4 minutes. And then now your 3, LeBron's probably playing 20 minutes at the 3. So now you got to again, it's just, it can kind of make things tight. It can kind of make things complicated. But I don't think it's this huge thing, but it would have made things, I think, a lot easier and smoother if AD was more willing to play the 5. But, and look, and I know some people are like, oh, AD shouldn't play the 5 because of injuries. He's been injured at the 4 too, right? Like he's injury prone, Like it doesn't matter. It's not like, oh, he's never gotten hurt at playing the 4, so we should play him at the 4. Like, no. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What do you want to see? Do you think Wood ends up starting? Do you think he doesn't? All right, Phil, what are your thoughts are? Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.